Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely amazing that's literally happening all around us, every single second of the day. We are talking about the endless, fascinating journey of water on our beautiful planet. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever, looked up during a massive rainstorm and wondered exactly where all that water actually comes from? Or where the water in a rushing river ends up after it finally hits the ocean? Well, the answer is that water is just always on the move.
So here's the big picture of this incredible journey, the water cycle. And here's a totally mind-blowing fact for you. Water never actually disappears. It just changes form. That means the very same water you're drinking from your glass today, it might have been floating in a cloud, rushing down a river, or even being gulped down by a dinosaur millions of years ago. It is literally nature's ultimate recycling system.
The whole journey kicks off with the sun. Think of the sun as this giant, powerful engine driving the entire water cycle. Its heat warms up the liquid water in our oceans, lakes, rivers, and even the damp soil in your backyard. And when that water gets warm enough, it actually changes from a liquid into an invisible gas called water vapor. We call this process evaporation, and it sends all that water rising high up into the sky.
Now, what's really interesting about this next step is what happens way up high. High up in the atmosphere, the air is much, much colder. So as that invisible water vapor rises, it starts to cool down. And when it cools, it transforms back into tiny drops of liquid water or these little ice crystals. We call this condensation. Millions, actually billions of these tiny droplets join forces to form those big fluffy clouds you see floating by.
But, those clouds can't just hold on to that water forever. As more and more condensation happens, the clouds get darker and they get way heavier. When the water droplets get simply too heavy to float, gravity takes over and they fall right back down to Earth. This is precipitation. Depending on the temperature, precipitation brings fresh water down to our forests, mountains, and fields as rain, snow, sleet, or hail. Once that fresh water hits the dirt, it goes on one of two wild adventures. First, it can flow downhill over the land, rushing into streams and rivers that eventually carry it all the way back to the ocean. That's called surface runoff. Or it takes a sneakier route. Some of that water slowly soaks deep down into the soil and rocks. This underground journey is known as infiltration, where the water collects in hidden spaces called aquifers, becoming our groundwater. Let's move to and see how this builds into a perfect daily loop. It's basically a 6-step process that repeats every single day. The sun warms the water, clouds form, rain falls, water flows in our rivers, some of it soaks into the ground, and finally it returns to the ocean to start all over again. And get this. Did you know that, on average, a single drop of water travels all the way around the Earth in this cycle in just about 9 to 10 days? Pretty fast, right? Now, to understand how water manages this incredible trip, let's look at our next section, the 3 states of water. Water is incredibly unique because it can exist in 3 completely different forms. As a solid, we see it as freezing cold ice, snow, hail, or giant glaciers. As a liquid, it's the flowing water we see in rain, rivers, and oceans. And as a gas, it becomes that invisible water vapor floating around in the air. The whole water cycle totally depends on water constantly shape-shifting between these solid, liquid, and gas states. Check out this big number, 71. Roughly 71% of our entire Earth is covered with water. It is absolutely everywhere. From the deepest oceans to the moisture in the soil, it is without a doubt our most abundant and important resource. But just because there's a ton of it doesn't mean we can take it for granted. Look at the number 3. A human being can survive for about 3 weeks without food, but we can only survive about 3 days without water. That really puts into perspective just how absolutely vital water is for our survival. We literally can't live without it. So, the crucial point is this. The water cycle is what makes all life on Earth possible. It provides the fresh drinking water that every animal and human needs. It keeps our rivers flowing, it gives plants the moisture they need to grow and create oxygen, and it even shapes our weather and climate. Plus, as water evaporates and filters through the ground, the Earth is actually cleaning that water naturally. It's brilliant. Because water is so vital, we all need to step up and help protect it. So what can you actually do? Well, first, use water wisely at home. Don't just leave the tap running while you brush your teeth. Second, keep our rivers, lakes, and oceans clean by never littering. Third, plant trees. Their roots actually help the ground absorb water. And finally, just respect and protect nature so water can keep moving freely through its cycle, pollution-free. I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap up our explainer today. Every single drop counts. From the highest clouds to the deepest oceans to that glass of water on your table, water connects all of us. Let's make sure we take care of our most precious resource. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to learn all about the never-ending water cycle. Next time you're outside, keep looking up at those clouds and wondering just where that water has been.